Alright, so I'm trying to remember what you were saying.
Yeah.
So get my quick rebuttals ready. No. At the end of the day, we're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're learning
There's
from
no
each
hard
other.
and
That's the
fast
thing. Yeah,
answers.
Of course it's not.
Like you said, that
Open question. Yeah.
My viewpoint is naturalism. Yours is theism.
Yeah.
So what we're really going to do is like talk about why you think that your one is a better explanation for reality and therefore God as well, because that's part of it, that's the essence of it. I'm going to say why I use naturalism as my best method of understanding the world and therefore don't include a God dimension. Just a rehearsal.
Are you ready?
Don't make a fool out of myself, isn't it?
Ready, yeah?
Content over everything!
Yeah, so what I was sort of thinking is about, first thing that we agree on is that there is data that we both share. We both say that maybe, the theory of evolution can provide us an explanation for why there is, complexity, why there is diversity, variation, all these sort of things. And the Big Bang Theory can explain even the origin of the universe. But then, or it can, or maybe it's an open question for that, but we share but we share the data sort of, and we sort of say, well, where should the explanation of the data stop?
So the observable facts we both agree on.
We both agree on, but then where should the explanation stop? What is the best explanation of this phenomenon? I would say that normally when we're trying to understand the explanation for something, we look for the simplest explanation that leads us to expect the phenomenon.
Which accounts for all the data.
That accounts for all the data. So I would say theism, that there is a God, explains this data and is the simplest type of explanation that we can bring forth. And so that's sort of my position.
Okay. Yep, that's fair enough. I mean, me as a naturalist, I disagree with that because I would say that, yep, you're 100% right. We start from the same point that observable data is the same for both of us. Now, things like evolution, the Big Bang, and blah, blah. Now, what they mean, we can always debate about, interpret differently.
Yes.
But I would stick with naturalism as a way of explaining the world as the best way because it is more simple than inventing another dimension. Now, you agree with me that the way that the data that we observe is the same for both of us. Now, I have an explanation for it, which is the natural laws of the universe, the gravity, the electromagnetics, and the strong and weak nuclear forces. I think those four laws or rules about the physical world are enough to explain every observable data, fact, evidence that we have. Now, you agree with me there, but you also then add another dimension to say, but where did those rules come from? Now, where I, as a naturalist, would say, there's certain things about this world we don't know yet, or we might never know. And one of those things is whether it had an origin, whether the Big Bang is actually a true beginning, whether there is infinity, or whether there is something outsidely which caused the laws to be what they are. So I would say that goes into my category of I can't really comment on that. Whereas you understand that situation with me and then say, but I can comment on that.
Yes.
So I would like to know, as a naturalist, why you are so sure that the theistic explanation is somehow able to be put in place at that point.
Okay, because I would simply say that we go further in our explanations when there's an increase to simplicity in the explanation itself and when there is an increase in explanatory power, when the phenomena can be better explained. And I'm saying that if we were just to stop with the natural world, there being natural laws, certain natural laws,
And we don't know why.
Okay, we don't know why, but that's the thing. So I'm saying, shouldn't we then try and look for an answer to the why question? Why does it operate? Why are there natural laws? Why are all material bodies conforming to the same natural laws? Why isn't there just chaos in the world when that seems like the simplest situation that there can be? The simplest state of affairs is that there is chaos, is that there is order in every part of the universe. So everything is conforming to simple natural laws. Why are they doing that? So why are they natural laws? And why are these laws simple? Why can we understand these laws and use them towards our ends? It seems to me that you just saying, we don't have an answer to the why question, can only be if there is no increase in simplicity and explanatory power. But with theism, there is, because we simply say there is one substance who brings about the universe, who conforms it to these natural laws, and who creates beings who can understand these simple natural laws. And also, they are attested for. They can be explained to the fullest extent by this one substance.
Can your explanation be attested?
What do you mean, sorry?
The theistic explanation, meaning that one source of it, or
yes,
can that be demonstrated?
Of course it can. So if there is certain phenomena that would not be expected to occur if there is a God, then that disproves there being a God. That simple as it. So we say there is phenomena, okay, and all the phenomena can be accounted for. We would expect there to be this phenomena if there is a God. But if there is some certain phenomena that we wouldn't expect,
what phenomena is there that can't be accounted for by just the natural law? Why is there the need for you to enter this extra dimension? And you said it was to explain where the laws came from. And I say to you, from a naturalistic point of view, this is exactly what's been going on since the beginning of human beings. When human beings looked at nature, they said, right, maybe it's windy because for whatever reason they make something up. Now, little by little, they made up explanations for every natural phenomenon. And one by one, as the scientific method actually got going and started to test these things and eliminate the wrong answers, and we come to much, much better and accurate explanations for all of these things, I say that we were in that boat. The boat where me and you are in right now, we were in that boat then, but because we didn't have a scientific method formalized, we did go with making up silly stories. Now, all you're doing here is doing the same thing. Now, I'm not saying that you're silly in any way. You're one of the most educated people I know. You're a very smart guy. But what I'm saying that when it comes down to it, all you're really doing is saying that there are some things that science cannot explain, like where the laws themselves came from. Now, rather than accept that that might just be a brute fact about the nature and reality that we're in, you say, no, we have to have an explanation and it's going to be a simple one and therefore it's going to be true. I disagree.
Okay, so the only reason why we would say that we should just accept that it's a brute fact is because, like I said before, that me postulating God would just complicate the whole hypothesis, the whole explanation. Yeah. So if I postulated there being a divine person, okay, and I added that into our explanation, then that would, according to you, complicate the hypothesis. Yeah. And because it does that, that's why I shouldn't go any further. Yeah. But then, like we were saying, when we were talking before, and I was saying that there's two types of explanation. Yeah. There's a scientific explanation for something, okay, which is just basically explained by the laws of nature. Yeah. And then there is a personal explanation. We use this all the time. And personal explanations are explanations that depend on a substance's beliefs, powers, and intentions. So I gave the example of a ball. Okay, the ball can be explained scientifically by the ball just dropping by gravity and being placed there. But it can also be explained personally by me having the beliefs that I wanted, that if I placed it there it will stay, the purpose of doing that, okay, and the power to do it. And these things can work at the same time. So I'm saying to you, science gives me an explanation for how the world works, but also I can increase the explanatory power. And I can increase the simplicity of things that I'm postulating in the world by saying there is also a personal explanation in play here as well.
Yeah, but can your personal explanation override the scientific one?
Can it? What do you mean by override?
Meaning that the scientific explanation is obviously the real one as far as we can determine.
Yes.
The personal one may or may not adhere to that, and therefore it potentially could be wrong.
Okay, obviously even the scientific explanation.
But I'm saying
to you, one second, the scientific explanation could be wrong as well.
Yeah.
So let's say Einstein's laws could be, theories could be incorrect. So I'm saying that could happen all the time.
But the reason why you did agree with me that the scientific explanations are valid is because they're demonstrable, repeatable, reliable, testable, predictive. They have all these powers, so that's why you agree with them. So that is far more robust a way of explaining things. Then, when we do get to a point where we don't know stuff, to say, right, we have to throw science out the window, rather than saying that science may or may not work on this and come to something or may or may not, we'll throw science out the window for now about that and have to invent this other personal explanation because that's simple and therefore simple equals more likely to be true.
But I never said that we have to throw out a scientific explanation. I believe that we can hold to those scientific explanations. And I think that we can postulate even a theory of everything that will explain the natural world. But however, science is always limited in telling us why this occurs. Let's say there's a supreme natural law that explains everything, okay? Why then is there this natural law and not something else?
This is the thing I can say to you. Why is there God? If you just say that, then I would say to you, well, why does God exist?
Okay, and I can give you an explanation.
You can't.
I can say the necessity of his nature.
No, because then you'd have to do the same thing and say that him existing necessitates another God that is existing to create him.
No,
because that's what you said about the universe.
No, not at all. Because something like the natural world or the natural laws are not logically necessary. Something is logically necessary when the negation of it entails a contradiction. Okay, so the laws of nature could be different. They didn't have to exist.
No, we don't know that.
Of course they did.
No, we don't know that.
Yes, because
all we know is that in this universe, the laws of nature are what they are.
No, but they could have been different.
Of course, hypothetically speaking, they could have been different.
Exactly.
But then life could just as well have occurred there as well.
Okay, so I'm saying, so my whole point is that the laws of nature don't have the necessity in their own nature itself because they could be different. Okay, because the world could have evolved differently, the universe could have evolved differently, that there was different laws of nature. But God himself being a logically necessary being has necessity within his own nature. So we have a full explanation that explains all of reality.
I don't understand why you make that assumption that,
Why?
that God is a necessity in any way, shape or form.
Yes,
because
simplicity leads me there.
Yeah, but no, I would say
the simplest person is one that's necessary.
It's more simple
Yes.
to not make that up when we come to answers, we come to questions we can't answer in science, and just admit we can't answer them and leave it blank.
No, because I'm saying
more simple than making
because
that
I
up.
think we're conflating two issues about the two explanations. I'm saying there being a perfect being or divine person is the simplest type of personal explanation you can put forward.
No, but
because something. One
that's
second.
you saying that.
No.
As far as
The
I'm
reason.
concerned, when you say the word God, I don't imagine it to be some simple energy.
No.
I think
Can I
this
explain?
God has got intentions. He's
Yeah,
got
exactly. Can I
he does
explain?
stuff. He says
Can I
stuff.
explain?
He changes his
Yes.
mind. This is complex.
No, can I
He's
explain?
like a
The
living
two
creature.
simplest,
That's
the two
complex.
simplest values we can have is 0 and infinity. Okay, if there's such a thing, 0 and infinity, because they don't require another explanation. So what we say is there is a personal being who's infinite in power, infinite in knowledge, and infinite in his goodness. Okay.
Yeah, but
If you were then to say, one second, there was a personal being who had some level of power, let's say 80% of power,
no.
then we would have to
Let's
say
stick-
that's less
Let's
simple.
stick to your 0 and infinity.
Yes.
Yeah? You could have a God that's infinite and you think that's simple, but you could also have 0, meaning that there's no God. And that's even more simple.
Yes, no, it's not more simple.
It is more simple because look.
No.
No, accepting the limits of the
Yes.
scientific method and physical reality
Yes.
and not making up a magical dimension is way more simple than accepting the physical limits
Yes.
of reality and then making up a magical dimension.
Okay,
That is,
okay.
that
Number
is
one,
unnecessary.
we're not saying magical dimension.
Right, this is my
But,
phrase, my phrasing.
Okay, so no, I still don't see it negating simplicity, because simply if you said there's 0, that means that thing doesn't exist, doesn't have power, doesn't have knowledge, doesn't have goodness, whatever, it doesn't exist. Okay. But if there is that phenomena that needs to be explained, and I just said there is a ball here that's here, and I walked past the ball and we were walking down the woods, you said the ball is there. Okay, and I said, well, it doesn't have an explanation, it was just there. There was no explanation, whatever, we don't have an explanation. You say, sorry, this type of thing cries out for an explanation. You can't just tell me it's just there.
but the
the
universe
same
is not
way.
the same as that.
No, 1 second. So the same way, obviously the analogies break down, but I'm saying the same way that there being a universe, this universe having natural laws that are simple, things not just flying up everywhere in the bottom, and we utilize it for our own games, for our own ways.
This is the thing is that
I'm saying to you, it cries out for an explanation that doesn't just
fair
stop
enough.
with
Like
it.
I said to you, that in
Yes.
primitive situations,
Yes.
people were bound by that needing
Yes.
an explanation. It cries out for an
Yes.
explanation. We cry out for an explanation. But this is what I'm saying to
Yes.
you, is that it's unnecessary. Yeah? Because you said that you'd expect the universe to be total chaos.
Yes.
It bloody well is total chaos.
Yeah, but-
This life has only existed
Yes.
in one tiny speck,
Yes.
in one backdoor corridor of some tiny
Okay.
galaxy out of billions.
I mean, the
of
known
trillions.
world, that's what we know.
Yeah,
Yes,
and so what I'm saying to you, that the majority of the universe, if you were in any other space, any other part of this universe apart from here, the 99.999% chances you'd be dead in 1 second. Of course. Yeah? So the universe is chaotic, yeah, and us happening to have evolved and developed on a small speck is more supportive of a naturalistic framework.
When I mean it's not chaotic, I'm saying there are laws that are binding on those planets. So the laws are still binding on that planet. Okay, and they
laws are
operate.
binding,
So I'm saying,
pretty much across the
everywhere.
board.
Yeah, so the whole universe will say they're binding.
Yeah.
Why are they binding?
Right.
Why shouldn't there
Now,
be some parts of the universe
this is the
that
thing.
don't operate?
This is the thing.
Yes.
Science will
Yes.
ask that question: Why are the fundamental laws of the universe what they are? Yeah. We will ask this question in terms of what is the preemptive events that happen to lead to it.
Yes, yes.
Now, you asking why, as in what is the purpose of it? That's an unnecessary question, because that's already assuming that there's some sort of creative designing.
No, not at all.
force.
You'll say there's a preemptive explanation,
No.
but then that preemptive explanation will need to be also explained by something preemptive,
Yeah.
and you'll keep on having to go.
what
But
we'll
if
get
there's
back
something
to
at the
is Big Bang.
bottom,
What we'll get back to is the Big Bang, and
Yes.
then we say our methods break down
and
there.
then break down
we
there.
don't
Yes,
know. Yeah.
yes. So then why don't we utilize another methodology? That's what I'm
Yeah,
simply
but
saying.
why don't we use that methodology and make up that a packet of crisps occurred
Because
before
it's
the
not a
Big Bang?
simple. It's not a simple explanation.
A packet
So
of
it's
crisps
not
is more
according.
simple than your God.
No, of course it's not.
It is, because a packet of crisps is just potatoes. Your God has these magical powers and
So okay,
is
just using
the
your
thing.
example, just go with your example, just so you how it's not. Okay,
that's
someone
behind you.
murdered someone, yeah, and sorry, there's a murder weapon on this person. He has all the blood all over him, and bodies there, and there's camera footage, but there's also a packet of crisps with a bit of the blood on, and it's just sitting right there. Should we say, sorry, the simplest explanation that caused this event, that explains this phenomenon, is that the packet of crisps did it instead of someone who has a bit of power?
That's a terrible analogy.
Why is it?
Because we're talking about something we can't detect.
No, but you're saying to me simply that I'm giving you a personal explanation. You're saying the simplest personal explanation is why not a packet of crisps? Why not a magical thing? Why not this? And I'm saying the simplest explanation you can put forward is that of a personal being who's infinite in all of these attributes. That's the simplest person that they can be.
I don't know why you think that's so simple. I think that's just overcomplicated.
You agreed with me. No, but you agreed with me that infinity, is simple. You agreed with me that zero, because they don't require further explanation.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. If they're equally simple, then your God being infinite is just as likely as your God not existing. Zero and infinity are equally simple.
Yes, but then we have to say, so then we have to say, okay, we have the simplicity of this here, but then we need to postulate this because it explains the data. And I'm saying to you, it requires us to say that there is this being. But anyway, can I just say why simplicity, infinity is simple? It's simply because we don't require any further explanation. I would need further explanation for why this, let's say it's a divine person. The divine person has a bit of limits in his power, a bit of limits in his knowledge and his goodness, okay? I will have to have a further explanation.
That's not infinite, then,
1 second.
Oh,
no, I'm saying, let's say there was this being. I will have to have a further explanation to say, sorry, why does he only have 98% power, not 99? Why not 99.5? Why not 100? Why not this? You understand? You have further explanation for why. When we say there's an infinite person, we simply say that's where the explanation stops. There's no more.
Right, look, I do disagree because I still stick to naturalist statement. But if I was to entertain what you're saying, and we say that look, God is a necessary construct to explain why the laws are the way they are. So then I would say to you, using the same logic, what is the necessary contract which explains to you why God is the way He is?
Okay, so then I'll have to say to you that God exists, I said again, by the necessity of His own nature. So there is no further explanation.
Why can't the universe exist? Why can't the universe exist by the necessity of its own nature?
I said
because you could have just said that, like naturalists do, when we get to the limit of we don't know.
No. So when you say something is necessary, you're saying again, negation entails a contradiction, but that means in any other situation that there was, okay, if it's necessary, it'll still be the same. So I'll give you an example. 1 + 1 = 2. If the world was any different, it'll still be the same truth. It won't be different.
As long as the definition of 1 is 1.
Yes, exactly. It'll always be the same. It'll never change, no matter how the situation was. When we say the laws of nature, we don't say it in that same way. The laws of nature, if the world was different, if it evolved a little bit different. Okay, the concepts were a little bit different. There'll be different laws.
Of course, but this
so I'm saying
maths is 100% completely well-defined and closed-off system. Yeah, that's why it works the way it does. The universe is not a human, well-defined made system. The universe is open and might not obey our laws of maths and our laws of logic. We like to think it does because maths is pretty robust in the way that we've defined it. But ultimately, when we get to the Big Bang, when we get to quantum mechanics, maths goes out of the window. Maths does.
Yes, I agree with you. But when, like we were saying, when you agreed with me that the laws could be different, if you say something could be different, then it's not necessary. It's contingent.
Yeah, but
because something logically contingent.
The universe wasn't necessary. We just know
exactly.
that
No, but you said to me, you asked me the question, why can't the laws of nature have the necessity in their own nature? And I'm trying to tell you, they can't. They're not necessary. They're contingent.
So then God being the way He is not necessary because He could have been different.
I'm saying, if the understanding...
This is the thing. The laws of nature are different and their origin was from God. So if God was different, if the laws of nature were different, then God could have been different as well, isn't it?
But then God couldn't be. Because... he couldn't be different. Because then He wouldn't fall into the category...
If I said to you the laws of nature couldn't be different.
Yes, 1 second. Because He wouldn't fall into the category of God. Okay, He wouldn't at all, because you have to have essential attributes, certain attributes to be prescribe the properties of being divine.
You've made up these attributes.
No, I haven't. I've said
there's no way that you've explored the world and determined these attributes based on some evidence or fact.
So I'm saying again, we can go through it through simplicity. Again, that leads us towards what is a true explanation.
If you're saying simplicity is the reason why God is true because it's the most simple
No, I'm not saying why it's the reason why God is true. I'm saying why that is
the best explanation.
Yes, so I'm saying why that's one component.
Yeah, but you're saying God is the most simple explanation, and simple explanation equals most likely to be true.
Okay, yes,
this is what you're saying. So I'm saying to you, one, first of all, there's no demonstration of any type of God, so that doesn't matter. Secondly, there's no demonstration that simplicity is always the most aligned with truth, because the world is complicated, and a lot of complicated explanations do have to be sorted.
But can I tell you, whenever we're trying to...
Yeah, exactly, especially in the quantum world.
Okay, but whenever we're trying to seek for an explanation, we can always postulate an infinite amount of explanations to explain
Yeah.
a phenomena.
Yeah.
But we always look for what's the simplest explanation. So again, with the murder example, we can simply say Bob did it, or we can say that there was 5 people who worked together, one person dressed up as Bob, no, but I'm saying we can, and that explains, one second.
The limit of that simple explanation means that it still has to match to the facts.
One second. Yeah. So I'm saying they both match the facts. So we could give you a hypothesis here to say, okay, someone robbed the bank, the money's gone, it's stashed in Tom's, house or whatever. Okay, we could say simply that a guy called Dave, dressed up as Tom, had a mask on.
But that doesn't match the data.
No, but I'm saying, no, it does match the data. It explains the data. It says why there is.
Why is it in the other guy's house then?
No, because he could have been there to frame. So we can come up with so many explanations.
Yeah, but you only do that.
How we
if
sieve.
If you had evidence to think that.
No. So how we sieve through explanations is that which is the simplest? One person did it, or 5 people worked together to frame the one person.
Look, it depends though, innit, on what the data, what the information, the evidence is.
Because it's not about the
if
data.
you had no evidence of these 5 people,
Yes.
you wouldn't suddenly just make them up. But if you had some reason to suspect that 5 people are involved, then now that becomes part of the facts.
Yeah.
And so for the simplest explanation has to include 5 people because the facts are telling you there were 5
Yes,
people.
yes.
For example, if you had 5 fingerprints
I agree with you.
on the knife,
Exactly.
you'd say there's likely 5
Yes.
people handled that knife.
Yes.
So now that becomes a necessity to the simplest explanation.
I agree with you. But we have the phenomena here of there being a bank robbery, and we can postulate an explanation that will explain this in the fullest extent.
Yeah.
Someone dressing up as someone paying the people,
I mean,
someone
like,
turning.
you can make up
We can make
thousands
a
of
thousand.
different-
But how we sift through all of them, we say actually,
Which
it's
one
just the
matches the
simplest.
data?
No. They both match the data. Which one is simplest? One person doing it or 10 people doing it? Because if they both explain the data, but the one person is simpler. One person had one intention to steal money.
If this is what you're sticking to,
Yes.
then you're contradicting yourself.
How?
Because like I say to you, is that either you say that maybe nothing exists outside of the physical reality to create the universe, and we just don't know whether it was infinite or not, or you say that there is a magical reality which I can't prove, but it's logically contingent or necessary, and it's got a god in it who behaves like this and does. That's all extra complications that are totally unnecessary.
So when
So
we're
I
looking
can't
at
see
simplicity,
that as equating with
when we're
simplicity.
looking at simplicity, we postulate entities only if it's necessary.
I don't.
Okay, so not beyond
I know,
necessity.
but this-
So that's what I'm saying. So all I'm
But
saying
why
is
should I
that we haven't.
postulate an entity?
No.
I don't see any reason
One
to
second.
do
So
that. It's
we
more
both.
simple not to do
No,
that.
one second. God explains the data just as much as the universe existing, the laws. But then which one is more simple? They're just being numerous laws that just operate in every single world.
There's only
All-
four fundamental ones.
Yes, but they operate in every aspect of the world. And if there's a multiverse, which not all the scientists say there is, but some prominent ones do, if there is a multiverse, and that has to have certain laws that will birth.
Yeah, but we don't know nothing about them.
Okay, but let's not even go to that. But let's say there are laws in all of our known reality that we have. Okay, and all material objects follow these laws. Why should there be such a thing? Is it simpler just to say simply there are these
No,
four
it's simple, it's just
fundamental
to say
laws?
we don't know.
One second.
Because we don't.
No,
We don't have
So,
any data
no,
or evidence
We
to
don't
tell
know.
us.
We don't know. It's not actually an explanation. So
No.
you haven't given me an explanation.
No,
You
but-
just said I'm not going to give you an explanation.
No, what I've said is that
So, yeah.
I can't see the benefit in making something up just because we have no data. If you have no data, you say
No, we
can't
have
make-
the data. So
what
I'm saying
data?
we have the
What
data.
data do you have to
One
tell
second.
you that the universe had an origin or requires a creator?
I'm not
Or the
even,
laws
I'm not
require
even saying
an
the
explanation?
origin of the universe. I'm saying I'm happy if science pointing to the universe being eternal. I don't
even the
have a
laws
problem.
being the way they were. What evidence do you have to tell you why they're the way? Everybody has to say we don't know.
Yes,
Yeah,
but I'm saying-
so you come along and say I don't know either. But then my simplest explanation, rather than admitting I don't know, I think it's more simpler to make up a god to explain it. And I'm saying no. I think it's more simple to just say we don't know where the laws came from, or why they are the way they are.
Then what should happen then is science should just say that. And we shouldn't seek for we shouldn't seek for a theory of everything.
But
We shouldn't seek for why though?
Because just because our limits in terms of how the world works leave us with these empty spaces of I don't know, doesn't mean we should stop trying.
But then you're coming to my position.
No,
because I'm saying
we're not making stuff up. We're not making magical dimensions. We're saying we'll keep interrogating the universe, and then hopefully we'll find some way of matching up everything to explain it.
Yeah, exactly. So
but it might not happen.
Exactly.
It might be
And okay,
impossible.
fine.
Yeah.
But I'm saying science is saying that we have this phenomena here. It is crying out for an explanation.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
no.
not.
One second.
Trying to explain
Let me say my
why
point.
the rules are the
Let me
way
say my
they
point.
are.
Sorry.
That's not crying out for an explanation.
Let me
That
say.
might just be impossible.
Let me say my point. Okay. It seems I can say okay. I'll make it even less stronger. I'll say it seems like it cries out for an explanation. Yeah. So what is that explanation? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it? So I'm saying, is it this natural laws just existing and that is it? Is it that there's a more fundamental law or there's something
deeper levels
else,
of reality.
deeper levels of reality, which science itself is trying to look
Trying to
at.
find out,
Okay,
yeah.
but
Or is
why
there another
doesn't?
dimension
Okay,
with
but
a
why
God or
doesn't
something? All of
science?
these things are
Okay,
possible.
exactly. But why doesn't science just take that first position? It's just how it is. Let's not even.
Because science is
let's not
open
even
to
try.
what might happen in the future.
No, but I'm saying let's not even try and find out.
No,
more.
but that's silly because that's what science
But exactly. So I'm
is
saying,
to try and find
so I'm
out.
saying to you, because it's saying that we need to postulate another entity. Could be a law, could be something else, because it's simpler to do that. It doesn't just make sense to say this is a brute fact. Let's just leave it as it is, because that's simply how we should do. It's a brute fact. Let's leave it as it is.
Yeah,
okay?
that would be more simple than,
So I'm saying,
pursuing it further.
no, but I'm saying that's what hundreds of years ago probably people did with creationism. They said,
Exactly,
let's just say, but I'm saying, yeah.
because they went to the
But
most
one
simplest
second,
thing,
but one
which is
second.
that God does everything.
one
Oh, she
second.
died, God done it. Oh, the rain came, God done it.
One
Oh, my
second.
leg fell off, God done it.
Yeah, exactly.
That
But
was
I'm
always the
saying- But I'm
simplest.
saying, okay, let's be honest. People had a scientific worldview very similar to that as well. So
Yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah,
so I mean, they weren't as advanced in that way. Okay, they weren't advanced in loads.
No,
of
in
ways,
those
but
days,
not
it wasn't religion and science weren't separated.
Yes, yes.
They was just basically trying to work out how the world worked, and they didn't have formalized methodology. So anything was as good as another way of explaining
Yes,
things.
yes,
right?
yes.
It was only when they realized that you base your conclusions on evidence and testable, repeatable experiments. That's the point when even it was during Isaac Newton's time. That was the point when they suddenly realized this is the way to find things
And I
out.
think that is the way to do it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, even Augustine, who was a pillar of the church,
Yeah, Saint
said,
Augustine.
so he said that it's very important that we see Genesis as an allegory. He actually held to Genesis in an allegory.
Yeah, I mean,
and so
it makes
he
a
said,
lot more
so I'm-
sense
no, but I'm saying,
that-
so I'm
as
saying the
allegory.
position has never been that we have to say science and theism are against each other, or we have to just explain everything and say God did it, and there's no scientific explanation of it. Just God made the rain.
There's actually, for your type of person, and I'm kind of like a staunch atheist and naturalist, for your type of person, I think there's actually room for us to kind of come to an understanding, because like I said to you, that we naturalists will seek to explain the world within terms of the world as far as we can. When we get to a point where we don't know something, we say we don't know, we're open to spiritual ideas, we're open to magical ideas, we're open to God, we're open to something we haven't even thought of yet, but we need a reason to go that far, to make that step. Yeah, so we'll say we don't know, and then you'll come along and say, but I think it's simple to postulate this entity to explain things at this further level that we can't access yet or ever, yeah? Which is fair enough. But then you also have to know that that argument can be used by any theist or any religion. So
I agree. No, so at the end of the day, I'm talking at a general theistic level.
Yeah.
We can go into debates about which revelation of this theistic being
But then
is
what
the
I would
correct
say
one.
to
That's
you
a
is that
different thing.
if you use that logic to determine that some entity exists, you have now made it definite that there's no way you can find out who it is, what it is, or which one it is.
Why?
Because you're only going on the logic of that it's necessary. If the only reason you know it exists is because it's necessary, then you don't know anything about it. You just know that it exists because it's necessary.
Yes, no. So when you were saying, you said something about how I can't understand about the different religions. Is that what you were saying?
No, I was just.
So I don't
I was saying that.
your question.
I was saying that. Like,
statement.
sorry, I'm not sure. I don't know if I said that, but I thought I said that. If you use the logic of it's necessary to explain why the laws are the way they are, then what you've done is you've said that this is the reason why something out there outside of physical reality must exist. But you've still admitted that you can't know what it is or how it works or anything about it or how it operates. You can't know any of this.
So then,
but it's only a logical thing that you've done to determine its existence.
I would say to you that the certain evidence I brought forward to you can only give you the existence of this entity. But then there can be other evidence which will then have to look into the field of history and say, well, has this entity revealed himself? Okay, because at the end of the day, there cannot be a deistic understanding of God. It's actually logically impossible. The reason being is because if there is a created reality, okay, then God must interact with his creation in some way, because he will not be perfectly good. Because no, he won't be. I mean,
that's fair enough.
No, so
I totally understand that.
So I'm saying then we have to then look at say, okay, is there any reliable revelation of this God?
Yeah.
Then we have to start arguing at that level.
Yeah,
but I'm saying
but
the evidence of there being a universe, there being simple natural laws, just leads us to there being this substance.
No, you're right. You're
being.
You're 100% right about that. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a different type of conversation. So let's bring it back to the real deal. So theism versus naturalism.
Yes.
Yeah? So I said to you over there, the way I look at it is, if theism was true, you'd expect the world to be quite ordered. Yeah. And to us, it seems ordered.
Yes.
Yeah. But let's be honest. There's a lot of chaos out there. The majority of the universe is chaotic rather than ordered. Yeah. It's only the way that we've chosen to interpret order that it looks orderly to us. Yeah. Even nature. Secondly, so in a theistic, under theism, you'd expect the world to be ordered. Under naturalism, you'd expect it to be chaotic. Generally speaking, it's pretty chaotic. Yeah? Under theism, you'd expect God to be easy to detect. He wants us to know He exists. He's got the power to make us know He exists. He should make us know He exists. Yeah. Under naturalism, it'd be pretty difficult to prove God exists because He just doesn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that we could do this with every aspect of the world we look at,
just
and
those
you'll
2
find
points.
that naturalism matches
Okay,
reality
2 points.
a hell of a lot better than theism.
2 points. I don't forget them. Okay, orderliness of the universe. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about that there is no chaos at the law level. So when I'm saying all the laws are operating and all material bodies conform to those laws, as we know of. Yeah. So when I'm saying it's not chaotic, is that gravity on that building doesn't just stop operating and people start flying up.
It's consistent.
So I'm saying, but that's what I mean. That's what I meant by orderliness.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, would we expect there to be a clear understanding of God that's written in the sky that we see? I don't see it as doing that. Because if we say one purpose of God creating the world is so that there can be one second. If there can be free rational creatures, if God was then to reveal Himself to the most clearest level, then that will limit freedom to being non-existent. I'll give you an example. So let's say you have, I have a daughter now, and let's say my daughter's going to be at nursery, and I say go and play around, with the other kids. She's going to go and do all the stuff she wants. Let's say she's old enough to understand some commandments, okay? If I leave her around, she'll go and do some stuff, and she might, start bullying a kid or slapping a kid or being, doing the wrong thing. Hopefully not, but let's say she did. Yeah. But let's say I was in the room and she knew I was right there looking at her, staring at her.
Yeah. So that's not going to be a genuine test of her behavior.
Yeah, she will make sure she does all the good things. Yeah. So look at it this way. If God was the clearest thing in the world, okay, that everyone knew that God is there, think about it. Would you actually be able to be free? Would you actually be able to choose, truly, to choose between good and evil? The majority of people would just go say, actually, because I know this God, He exists, I know He's going to punish me if I do. He might punish me immediately by just zapping me off the earth, or He might punish me in the future.
Isn't the threat of hellfire literally the same thing, though?
Why is it? No, because
everybody...
But there is no, so what the position is, and I would always say, is that there is no 100% certainty that, let's say, with a probability factor of 1, that there is a God. I say that it's significantly probable that there is a God, but the reason why it's not of a probability factor of 1 is because if it was that everyone knew God existed, like 1 + 1 = 2, then we will not know we will not be able to exercise our free will, and then we'll also say that there is judgment 100%. Yeah. So then I won't go and do stuff. Yeah. But because people doubt there being a judgment, because people have a bit of doubt, that God is not going to punish me here, that's why we can exercise our free will correctly.
So fair enough, but what about the point then that if there genuinely is this one God, he chooses not to let us know that He definitely exists, because then He plays on the faith aspect. I mean, that's important to Him. So why would He then still allow people to have faith in different gods?
Okay, so it's exact same answer. So it's saying it expands our free will, because.
The thing is, it's all fair enough to choose to look at free will in those ways and explain God's existence and the reason why He's undetectable. But like I said to you, under theism, that's just all extra complicated stuff to justify a belief. Whereas under naturalism, you just say,
it's not at all.
It doesn't make sense.
No,
why would this God behave like this and operate like this? Okay. And isn't it much more likely that human beings just made this stuff up?
So the explanation is just simply that there is.
This is what I'm saying. Isn't it much more likely that human beings just made this up?
Remember what I said? Personal explanations, beliefs, purposes, and powers. We simply say that there is one substance which is God, who has certain beliefs, infinite beliefs, has infinite power, and has an intention.
And what we
one second. What we say. One second.
Because earlier, remember when we said that you can only logically infer His existence.
Not to go back to that issue, but just give me this for a second.
Okay, cool.
Saying that this is the explanation that we have for a God. There's beliefs, powers, and intentions, and He has infinite powers and beliefs. Okay, let's just say that. Okay, He's all-knowing and all-powerful. Let's just say that. Okay, what is His intention? I would say the best intention that we have for there being this specific type of universe is that God intended for this universe for there to evolve rational, free creatures. Okay, I'm not saying just human free creatures. There could be around the whole universe. Okay, there could be. Okay, but rational free creatures, because one goodness that God can't instantiate is actually choosing between good and evil. And we would see it's actually a good thing that people have this free choice. So God has an intention now. He wants to bring about the universe and create rational free creatures. And this then explains what you said about there being loads of religions. God does it because He wants us to make the free choice of choosing to actually understand who He is. Because if it was just so clear, one religion is true. Okay, think about it, 500 years ago, in this country, Christianity is true. Or, when people were getting persecuted for, going against a Christian religion, okay, which was not a good thing, I don't endorse at all. But let's say that was going on. People had no free choice to actually say sorry. Maybe Islam is correct, or maybe this is correct.
Really, why didn't God just not send any prophets and not give any messages and let people work it out based on the logic He used?
Because the thing is, how we are, we have things. Okay, we are rational creatures.
Or
we're
even
not.
better, if that was really God's
Yes.
point,
Yeah.
why didn't he make it look like he doesn't exist, and then therefore the real people who
Okay.
still had faith
Okay.
would be some champions?
Okay,
to him?
2 points. I'll go with your last one first. That'd be deceptive. A perfectly good being cannot instantiate deception.
But he's
as a
kind of
state
being
affairs.
deceptive because he's expecting us to believe him
He's
without
not.
proving it.
Deceptive would be simply saying that he's doing something that is not actually true. Okay, so at the end of the day,
but
that
alright,
would be
what he's
deceptive.
doing is a
But
bit
with your-
unfair.
I think
He's
the first
expecting
point
us
is a bit stronger. Goodness sake, that just went out my head. You just had it. What was that first? That just went out my head because I was answering. Okay, deception was the first one. Sorry, the first one I addressed. Oh goodness. Is anyone listening now? We can remember that last point. Okay, we had so many religions. Okay, then you said, why doesn't God, create it that we are? Why does he send prophets and all those sort of things?
why does he communicate?
Okay, because unfortunately, as human beings, we have two things that we operate with. We operate with rationality, and most of the time we try to be rational, but then we also have desires. And our desires are inclinations to perform a less than good action. So I gave an example to someone before. If I have fruit in front of me, the rational thing in every scenario would be to go and eat that fruit, unless I'm allergic. But for a normal person, to further my health, eat that fruit. I've got a chocolate bar over here. I've got desires to go and do that because I like the sweet taste of chocolate. The rational thing would be to do that there. So if God just left us without any help at all, more than likely, we will just go and further our desires the majority of the time instead of our rationality. But because God actually steps in at points in time, but not all the time, to remove our free will, he does it in a way that he respects our free will, but he brings messages that people can understand, is that if you actually study these things, utilize your rationality, and not just go with your desire to go and maybe have sex or go and get loads of money or do those sort of things, and actually, invest yourself to this, you will find this truth about me. And so that's why he steps in at points in time.
Yeah, but
so
the thing is,
we're holding
that
it to
doesn't happen to everyone.
Of course it doesn't happen
A lot
to
of people, it doesn't happen to.
Yes, yeah.
So it's not really
No,
reliable.
so I'm saying when you said about prophets, was why does God send certain prophets? And for Christians, we say, why did he become incarnate? It's because one reason for that is to reveal these moral truths, reveal these certain things about his nature, and it can help us understand it better.
Yeah.
Okay, not everyone has it, and so the judgment, from my position, will be, not everyone is going to be judged equally. So someone who's in a cave, who's never heard of God, who's a little, whatever, they're not going to be judged the exact same way as me, or I lived in London where I have all access to all the religions.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different, and that's where it's sort of,
but the thing that I don't get is that if a God truly existed and he had complete power and he wanted to play this game with conscious creatures, he's made it extremely difficult for people to know the one, that he does exist, and two, which one he is, because he's allowed there to be thousands of different religions. People indoctrinate their kids and they reject him the true one existing because of their upbringing and indoctrination. So he's really made the situation completely unfair based on where people happen to be born.
But would you really say that? Because he would simply say that I sent these certain prophets to help you. One second.
Other religion people will say that he sent those different prophets.
Exactly. And so God will then say that we need to. I see one of the most important things we can do is logical analysis. I think when people just say I'm going to believe something blindly without actually having reason supporting the propositions they are sent to, it's incorrect and it's not correct. That's why we have loads of falsehoods, going around the world. We need to do logical analysis. And I'm telling you that if we do this logical analysis, and let's say we're assuming there's a God, so we're not talking on an atheistic level, but why are there loads of religions? Let's do this logical analysis. Let's utilize criteria that can be found in other ways of finding out truth. Okay, where does that lead to? I personally would say it leads to the Christian religion, all these sort of things that come with the Christian religion. But that's another conversation we can have. But I'm just saying, let's do logical analysis. Let's not just believe things blindly. There's loads of people who just, purport something to be true, but it's completely false.
But the thing is about logical analysis is that obviously every human being thinks that that's what they're doing.
Yes.
Now, it can't be that we are all actually doing it because we come up to such different conclusions and we start with different premises as well.
Yes.
So we can't all be doing the same type of logic.
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you is that the logic that you adhere to when we deal with the physical world and you accept evolution, you accept the Big Bang, you accept how the physical world operates from gravity, quantum mechanics, all the way up to intergalactic situations. You understand that the rules are consistent throughout and the way we have of determining and proving that they are that way is pretty reliable. So then that's a very robust way of looking at things. Now then all of a sudden you suddenly go off into this metaphysical aspect where you've chosen a particular deity, a particular god with particular features, and there's no reason for me as a naturalist to think that your way, your particular God, and the reason why you think he definitely is true, is any better than the Muslim saying it to me with their logic and reasons, and the Jew and
Exactly,
anybody else.
and I agree with you. But then
So-
let's use that same criteria. Which let's say you're assuming theism
But
is
what
true.
I'm saying to you is then that logical analysis that I was criticising is that you've got a particular one which matches your personal belief system. He's got a particular one.
But I'm saying,
but the real
okay,
logical,
one second.
the real logical
Yeah.
standard that we use for
Okay.
scientific
Yeah.
situations, that goes nobody.
No, but
goes back to,
I
nobody
hold.
uses
Yeah,
that
one second.
anymore.
I hold.
Only naturalists.
Okay, when I hold to probability, I hold that there is an objective criteria that is true at all times. One second.
You can't have probability when it comes to God.
One second. So I'm saying when we utilize this criteria, it's something which is true. If we use this criteria and we are logically competent, we should come to this result.
Yeah.
So you agreed with me that the simplest hypothesis that explains the phenomena,
explains the data,
explains the
is more
data,
likely to be correct
more
than the
likely
more
to be
complicated
correct.
one, yeah.
And I said,
Because the more
I promise you,
complicated one
yeah,
brings them
exactly.
more-
I agree with you. I
more
agree with you.
things.
So I said, if you speak to any other person who is of sense, will probably say the same thing. That's a criteria we can use.
Yeah.
Is this the
But then
simplest
your-
hypothesis?
But then we
One
found that
second.
your definition of simple
One
is
second.
different from mine.
One second. So that's when we have to try and come to the definition of simplicity, and it takes a whole, a long time to try and say it. But let's say we are looking at simplicity. Let's say we are saying this leads us to expect the data, okay, and we're not trying to argue for God's existence, but we're speaking about which religion, okay, if there is a God, which one is the truth? Okay, which is the simplest?
move on to that.
Okay, which is the simplest explanation to explain the phenomena? Let's say the facts around the person of Jesus. What is the simplest explanation? Is it that he wasn't crucified and someone else was, replaced him? Was it that all the supposed appearances? Because we're not talking about atheism here. We're talking about someone who believes in a God. So why would God allow these certain things to be true about this person? Okay, historians will lead us to say that there was a person of Jesus, that the person of Jesus had certain things happen to him around his life.
Yeah, but any of the magical things are not
No,
something that's
so
accepted.
remember, one second. So I'm not
Him
talking.
existing as a
one
person
second.
and being the character that he was,
Remember, we were
that's
talking.
more accepted.
One second. We were talking at that level of we assume theism, so there is a God, which then revelation of him is correct. Is it Christianity or Islam? Okay, or Buddhism or Hinduism? So let's say there's just this phenomena here, this data that we have about this person.
So
of
are you
Jesus.
saying then that your belief in the particularity of Christianity being true is based on the life of Jesus?
Oh,
The
yes,
evidence
yes.
for the life of Jesus?
Oh yes, it has to be. There's nothing else. I mean, that's literally what we have. That is our data. So we say, what is the
Fair enough.
simplest
But look,
explanation?
even as a naturalist, I'd say to you that it's more simple to explain Jesus' life with the explanation that he was a human being who had some pretty peaceful and cool ideas, and he came on the wrong side of the political situation that he was in, and he paid for it.
Okay.
I would say
Okay,
naturalistically, that is a much more simple explanation than saying that he's the Son of God, he was put down here to atone for all our sins, blah blah blah. I think that's all extra
But then, no,
complications
but it's only
that are
one second.
unproven and unnecessary.
One second. It's only extra complicated again if we're assuming naturalism. So first, you have to then look if there is a God. Okay, is there a God? We came to the sort of conclusion that we're just assuming it for the sake of argument. Is there a God? Why would he then bring all these revelations? I said, okay, you need to do logical analysis of these particular revelations. I said, okay, so if there is a God, why would he then provide this Christian revelation instead of this Islamic revelation, instead of this Hindu revelation? So I'm saying, okay, let's look at specifically Christianity here, and let's look at these things around his life. So there's a God. Would he allow these certain things to be true? What explains it? Is it that he brought this person back to life, or is that these were hallucinations, or was this that? So I'm saying to you that it doesn't, for me, there's a more complex hypothesis here when it comes to the person of Jesus, because you have to, again, conflate a lot of hypotheses and that's multiple hypotheses to explain the data, and then the probability is going to diminish. So we have to say certain things around the death and supposed resurrection of Jesus.
Yeah.
So Jesus, there was appearances to the disciples.
Yeah, but the thing is, this specific type of stuff here, I mean, it does work for you because, like you say, I assume naturalism.
Yes.
That's what being a naturalist is. You assume that way of
Yeah.
thinking. You're a theist. You
Yes.
assume theism
Yeah.
because that's what
Yeah.
the definition is. But what I'm saying to you is that I think there's good reasons to be a naturalist. Yeah, I don't think there's good reasons to be a theist.
Okay, so
if I was to assume that some type of entity does exist,
Yeah.
I would be either a pantheist or a deist.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I know his name, I know what he does, I know what he wants, I know what he's sent us. I would say that, okay, if I would agree with you that logically there is something necessary to explain why the laws are the way they are, even if I agreed with you on that, I would then still admit that I can't know nothing about that
Okay, so
entity.
then we have to that middle step would be, why would God reveal himself? Would he see it as
but
a
I don't
good
think he
thing?
has.
So you said no.
I
So
don't- I don't
that's
think
what I'm
he
saying.
has.
So I'm saying pantheism. If we were going to take the view that all things are God, then we have to simply say, then what does it mean to be a God? The traditional understanding would be that you possess certain essential
But
attributes.
we already said that what we're defining to be God is something that caused the laws of nature
No, so
to be what they are. So a definition like that
no, but
is very
remember,
loose.
we were doing this assumption, and we were saying, okay, if we are going to move to why would God create all these revelations? Why would He create all these purported revelations on Islam,
I don't know that he
Christianity?
did.
No, but I'm saying, remember, your objection was, if there was a God, then why would He, bring about all these religions? Because it's simpler in naturalism that that we wouldn't expect this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I was saying to you, we would expect these sort of things, is because it increases the range of our free will, and
So then I said to you, so why didn't God make it obvious that He doesn't exist, and therefore leave it down to people who have true faith in something that they have no way, no message, no prophet, no book, and then that would be a much better test of people's faith.
But then I'm saying that simply it just goes against an attribute of God which we see as perfect goodness, because being deceptive when you don't have to be, is wrong. Because sometimes someone gave me a good example before, and they said, okay, deception in some circumstances can be the right thing. Let's say you're deceptive to a paedophile, and there's kids running. It can be the right thing sometimes. But that's only if you have to. So the best thing would be that if you had the power to do it, you'll just get rid of that person. Zap. Move him over there. Now you don't have to be deceptive. And we have to say for
God does have that power.
So God can do that. So then why would He choose deception? Because you're saying to me deception is the right thing. Maybe God should just make it seem like He's doing all these sort of things.
But I only said that because you said that God would value someone's faith more if they had the choice to disagree.
Mate. Should we? Let's.
No worries, bro.
We're gonna carry this on, man. It's lovely
really
speaking to you, honestly.
That was a 45-minute, 50.
Goodness.
Was it? I was just at 10 minutes.
Awesome. Good speaking to you, man. I'll see you around again. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Cool.
Slag him off now, Anser.
See you later, Josh. Cool.
I like that one, man. I got caught up in that one still.